Okay, so, have you ever been in that spot, where you've been working so hard, putting everything in, showing up, and it just feels like you're running in place, completely exhausted, even, kind of wondering if you took a wrong turn somewhere? It's like that final stretch, the longest mile before the finish line, where time just stretches out, tests every single bit of you. Well, that sounds familiar. If you're feeling that right now, then this deep dive is because we came across this fascinating video, Find Right Before You Win Big by Fox, and it tackles exactly just heavy like it is here. Actually, it might be the clearest sign you're right on.
Right. And we should be clear, this isn't just about, feel-good motivation. Our mission here is to dig into the why these really frustrating periods are often, essential. It's fascinating how our minds can misread these moments, isn't it? We think stuck when actually deep shifts might be happening under the surface.
Yeah.
We're going to explore the psychology of that, of invisible progress, and why our brains kind of struggle to see movement unless it's like really obvious and loud, and hopefully uncover why what feels completely static often hides some really profound foundational changes.
Yeah, that waiting moment, as the source calls it, it's so deceptive. It really is that weird slowing down where every second just seems to crawl. Think about, say, a student pulling all-nighters, night after night, same material, same routine, pure exhaustion. And then exam morning comes, and there's no, visible proof that all that grind made a difference yet. Or, someone sending out job apps, dozens, maybe hundreds, and all you get back is silence, or those polite notes. Day in, day out, nothing looks different. And what makes it so crushing is that feeling of effort without feedback, right? You keep showing up, keep trying. It feels like turning the same damn key in the same lock over and over, and you just never hear that click. Your hand gets tired, doubt starts whispering louder. Are you even at the right door? Is this key even right?
And our minds, they don't exactly help us out here. Psychologists talk about this progress paradox.
Yeah.
We're apparently really good at noticing the lack of progress, hyper aware of it. But we're surprisingly bad at seeing small incremental gain. If the growth isn't dramatic, if it's not, immediately rewarded, our brain just defaults to nothing's happening.
Right, that makes
So this cognitive bias, it really explains why those plateaus feel so incredibly endless. What feels static, totally stuck, is often just hiding those deep, maybe unmeasurable changes. It's invisible progress, but it is progress.
Okay, but here's where the source gets really. It totally challenges the idea that waiting is just dead time, wasted time. Instead, it calls waiting preparation wearing the disguise of stillness. I mean, just thinking about that, wow.
That's powerful.
It's not empty. It's a process. It's doing something. Think about a seed pushed way down into the dirt. Hit it on top. Nothing. Just soil. Looks like nothing's.
Yeah.
But underground, in the dark, roots are weaving, stretching, grabbing hold. The darker and deeper it is, the stronger that whole network gets before anything even breaks. So by the time that little sprout finally appears, the support system is already there, solid, ready.
That's such a perfect analogy. And if we connect that to us, to human experience,
yeah,
this waiting period, it's literally the foundation being laid, even when you feel completely still, totally unproductive. It's not passive at all. This phase is actively building your endurance. It's training your consistency muscle. It's forcing patience into parts of your mind you maybe didn't even know existed.
Mental muscles. I like that.
Exactly. And that discomfort you're feeling.
Yeah.
It's incredibly important. It's not the end point. It's often that vital final step right before the change becomes visible. Think of it like neuroplasticity in action. Your brain is physically adapting to these new demands, building new pathways.
Okay, so if waiting is preparation and the discomfort is part of that, what about the sheer frustration, the doubt? How do we deal with that?
Well, the source suggests something really counterintuitive here. It says, if frustration is boiling up inside you, that's not failure. It's actually progress signaling its approach.
Progress signaling.
Yeah. Think about it. Doubt doesn't usually show up for people who haven't even started.
Sure.
It visits the people who've been moving forward long enough to actually see the gap between where they are now and where they really, really want to be. It's proof you're invested, not proof you're lost. Like that key, again, if your hand is tired from turning it, it means you're at the right door. The lock just hasn't quite given way yet. And what's really fascinating there psychologically is that the pressure itself becomes the evidence.
Yeah.
That tension, that mix of hope and, deep discouragement. It's proof you're right there on the threshold.
Yeah.
Pressure like that. It only really bears down on people who are genuinely close to a significant shift. It's almost like the universe, or just the process, making sure you're sturdy enough, ready enough for when that door does swing open.
Yeah.
So the heaviest waiting, the most challenging moments, they're actually signs the ground is shifting underneath you.
right.
even if it's quiet. But I do think it's fair to say it can be really hard sometimes to tell the difference between this kind of productive pressure and a sign that maybe you do need to adjust course.
Oh, absolutely. That's a crucial distinction. It requires real
Yeah, self-reflection, maybe getting some outside perspective becomes really key there.
Definitely. Because most of us, we're just conditioned, right? Struggle equals broken. Something's wrong. Fix it or stop. But this source asks, what if that struggle is actually pointing to growth that's already happened? Just under the strain, real strain, it pushes against our old limits. It has to, right? It's like your inner system is literally being stretched wider than it was before. You could almost think of consciousness maybe, like a dimmer switch, not just on-off.
Okay.
Sometimes you feel sharp, totally aware, lights all the way up. Other times it's kind of muted. And here's the really struggle, weirdly, is one of the things that can turn that dimmer switch higher.
How so?
Well, that forced focus, that intense attention you have to bring when things are hard. It's like cranking up the brightness on your awareness. Start seeing things you didn't see before. New angle, maybe new solutions.
Okay, I get that. And it connects to a crucial point.
Right.
We usually measure progress by what's outside.
Right. The results.
Did I get the promotion?
Yeah.
Did the project launch? Did I win? But true, lasting success, it doesn't actually start out there. It starts with the adaptation inside. Science keeps showing this. Your nervous system, how much stress you can handle, your mental framework.
For a threshold.
Exactly. Your thresholds. That's the stuff that makes real sustainable change even possible. The external wins are just like markers along the way. Your internal capacity is the engine driving it. You even see echoes of this in the animal kingdom. Think about a crow solving a tricky puzzle box.
Yeah.
That's not just instinct. It's active strategize. It's a higher level of awareness and action. Or an octopus figuring out how to open a jar. It's flexible problem-solving behavior. These aren't just on-off things. They're like rising scales of consciousness, adapting to the challenge.
So like humans under pressure.
Precisely. Humans under pressure often discover new ways to solve problems, deeper wells of patience, unexpected creativity. These are all signs that your mind space, so to speak, is literally widening because of the struggle.
So that feeling right now in this waiting game, that's my spectrum widening, even if I can't see the result yet.
That's the idea. Your effort might look invisible from the outside, but deep down, your system is undergoing this quiet evolution. What feels heavy, what feels like resistance, is actually forcing your mind to build a readiness, a capacity you didn't have before.
And when that readiness is finally stable,
then the external results can suddenly seem to just appear. But really, your inner foundation has finally grown strong enough to support them. Think about building muscle to work out right. To get stronger, the muscle fibers first have to tear just a tiny bit.
Right, the micro tear hurts.
It hurts. It creates soreness. It can make you feel weaker for a day or two. But that's not weakness setting in. That tearing is the mechanism for growth. It signals the body to rebuild those fibers stronger, more resilient than before.
Ah, okay. So the struggle.
Your struggle works the same way. That pain, that frustration isn't proof you're failing. It's the signal that growth is actively happening. Stretching beyond your comfort zone isn't punishment. It's developing the ability to actually hold the weight of the bigger wins when they arrive.
The weight, the win. That's interesting. Success isn't weightless.
Not at all. Success brings responsibility, new demands, new pressures. Without this stretching phase, this building of inner capacity, you simply wouldn't have the space or strength to carry it sustainably. You might even buckle under it.
Which brings us to that really confusing part. Hitting the most resistance right when you feel you...
Yes. That peak resistance paradox.
You keep going, you keep showing up, but the landscape looks depressingly familiar, like you're just walking in circles, hitting the same obstacles again and again, and you start thinking, I must be doing something wrong. But the source says, no, you're not necessarily imagining it, or wrong. It calls this phase a pressure chamber, preparing you for the very thing.
It is a paradox.
Totally. Logically, it should feel easier as you get closer to the goal. Path should smooth out.
But life often doesn't quite work. That moment right before a major breakthrough frequently feels like the absolute hardest part of the whole journey.
And that's why so many people understandably turn back. It feels like throwing effort into a void, hitting an unyielding wall. Why keep going?
And it raises that critical question. Hey, why? Why does life, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, seem to pile on the resistance just when we're closest?
Yeah, what's the function of that?
Well, look at studies on resilience. They consistently show that setbacks aren't just obstacles. They actively carve out abilities. They build strengths that easy victories just can't. Difficulty forces us to learn adjustment, flexibility, new problem-solving muscle. Think about that seed again. Pushing through the soil. Down deep, maybe it was relatively easy going, but right before it breaks through into the sunlight, that very top layer of soil presses down the hardest. That pressure looks like like an obstacle. But what it really signifies is that the seed's growth is powerful enough now, it's almost visible.
It's proof it's about to break through.
Exactly. That intense tension it is the signal of transformation about to happen. And crucially, it tends to only get that intense when you are genuinely close.
Wow. So while the surface feels like nothing's happening, while I'm busy doubting everything underneath, something's getting an upgrade.
That's a great way to put it. Something deeper is upgrading. Psychology talks about our models of self being rebuilt.
Models of self.
Yeah, basically the mental blueprints we have about what we're capable of, what our limits are, who we fundamentally believe we are. When you push against intense, sustained resistance, those old blueprints get stress tested. Often they need to be revised, redrawn based on what you're actually enduring and achieving, even if it's not visible yet. This leads to a stronger, more accurate sense of self. And what's truly powerful here is that just recognizing this pattern can change everything for you.
How so?
Because suddenly the waiting doesn't look like punishment. It doesn't feel like you're forgotten or failing. It starts to look like
confirmation that you're on the right track.
Precisely. Confirmation you're exactly where you need to be. Every delay, every setback, every frustrating cycle you're sick of. Maybe it's not a sign you're lost. Maybe it's evidence you finally reached the specific barrier that was always meant to yield.
Yeah.
The one just before the opening.
So when you see it that way,
then giving up starts to feel, well, illogical, doesn't
Right.
it? Why walk away when the resistance itself, the very thing that feels so hard, is actually the proof you've arrived at the door?
Okay. Wow. So let's bring this all together then. This period, the stretch where your patient's absolutely dreaded, where the outcomes feel agonizingly slow. It is not the end of it's not proof you failed.
No.
It's the final pause. It's that deep breath before the plunge, the moment just before everything you've been working towards starts to actually unfold. And that discomfort, that strain you're feeling right now, it's not wasted energy. It's actively forging something in you that easy times could never produce. It's forcing your mind span, your patience spin, your whole perspective widen. And without that sharpening, without that internal strengthening, the success that is coming wouldn't have a solid foundation to stand on anyway. It wouldn't.
And maybe if we connect this to the bigger picture one last time, consider this. Perhaps the truest measure of your progress isn't really about how easy the path eventually becomes. Maybe it's about how much capacity you've built inside yourself to actually carry the success you've been striving for, precisely because the path was so demanding.
Capacity built through hard.
Exactly. You're not stuck. You're preparing. You're expanding. That moment you've been waiting for, that win, trust that it's much closer than it looks.